What's going on, everybody? Keither.B at the Keither.B podcast, and today we have a very special guest, highly anticipated. Everybody's going to be worried. Everybody was Facebook lit up when I announced it. Everybody, welcome Anthony, Sexual Chocolate.
Hey, good evening. Good evening.
Walthall. Hey, man.
Hey.
Thanks for coming over. I appreciate you accepting my invite.
Man, no hesitation whatsoever, bro.
No,
got a little nervous, but no. Other than that, no hesitation.
Man, I'm actually shocked that you accepted my invitation to come over so quickly. You know, like.
Once again, bro, it's all about you. It's all about character, man. You know, you good dude, man. Really great dude. I mean that.
Well, I'm just glad you showed up because this is going to be a banger of a podcast. I just want to ask you right off the bat. Would you like to talk about why people call you Sexual Chocolate?
Well, yeah, no problem.
I mean, I've been at DVI. I worked at the prison for 20 years before they closed down, and I think ever since the beginning, people called you Sexual Chocolate.
Well, they call me many things. You know, Big Sexy, Baby Seal. What's the other one? Chocolate Thunder. You know, and I would tell, and the 8th chocolate wonder of the world.
Wait, I heard the term Louisville Slugger as well.
That one didn't catch on too well, man. But and Sexual Chocolate was one of the homies and we were in the academy together. And he said I reminded him of Mark Henry, the wrestler, I guess, who was going by the name of Sexual Chocolate. So,
okay.
So while we were in the academy, he started calling me Sexual Chocolate. And then when I ran into him at DVI, because initially I went to Soledad and he went to DVI. So once I was able to get that transfer, we seen each other right off the bat. Sexual Chocolate. People started laughing and I was like, oh my God, man.
All right, so that's the story behind Sexual Chocolate, because I thought it was just because you were like a sexual deviant, that you're a freak, that you're out there.
Yep, all of the above, yeah. Guilty as charged, yeah.
I mean, just right off the bat, I mean, your shirt, it says vegetarian.
You are what you eat. So
that's what I'm talking about.
You got to keep it real.
How long you been retired now?
3 years. It'll be 3 years next month, man. Yeah.
So with you having your personality of being known as Sexual Chocolate throughout the years, have you ever gotten into any like close to being filed on at work, or anything been hairy, like as far as behavior, as far as like people being offended by you being you, anything like that?
You know what? Not that I can recall. Yeah. You know, and no one ever pulled me aside and said, hey, you know, you gotta tone it down or whatever, you know. And then as I got older and I transferred over to CHCF, I was still me. And then there was still other officers that were still being ourselves. And it kind of would throw off some of these youngsters when they call me out Sexual Chocolate, Big Sexy, you know. And you wonder, I started getting worried. I'm like, oh man, is somebody gonna file? But no, bro.
You know what? And I think people get these nicknames and people have a persona, but I think it depends on like you, the person, how you carry yourself.
Yeah.
Like you can live your life the wrong way or the right way. And you know what? If you want that persona, you must be living your life the right way because you pull it off well.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. I remember one time I was coming into work. You may or may not remember this. I was coming into work. I worked third watch. You were leaving second watch. And I was looking for a parking spot. And I was going by you. And you was at your trunk. You putting your stuff away. And you saw it was me. And my windows were down. You're like, hey, pimp. You know, and I pull over right there by you. You know, I'm right here going this way. Your trunk's right here. And you showed me like, it was like a catalog of like pornos or something. And you're like, you're like, hey man, how does this make you feel? And he goes, what comes to mind when you show me that? And it was like the cover of a magazine of this black dude he was like a horse, like his what's the word for it? Dick. It was like obscenely huge. I was like, what the fuck? You remember that day?
But that's not the only time. I got other people say, "Do you remember when?" And I go, "No, I didn't. Sometimes I didn't sit so much, and I don't remember." But.
Yeah. What made it so funny is, and you knew it was funny, was because it was just like abnormally huge. You're like, hey, pimp. How's this make you feel? The first thing come to mind, I was like, holy shit. I was a little scared.
Well, I hope I didn't traumatize you too much.
No, not at all. Not at all. It was just like, that's sexual chocolate for you. Well, so sexual chocolate. So thanks. I think a lot of us out there are going to be thankful for that story, because I know you as sexual chocolate. I never knew the story about how you got it.
That's how I got it.
There.
That is how I got it.
From a wrestler.
Yep, from a wrestler.
And what'd you say the other one was? Chocolate Thunder?
Yeah, Chocolate Thunder.
How'd you get that one? Is there a story behind that one?
You know what? No, it's just something I made up. And then the story goes, like I said, I used to be a stripper back in the 80s, and that was my stage name. And I had to give it up because I had a jerry curl back then. So your jerry curl had to be really wet, right? So you always kept it juicy or whatever. So I said, well, I had too much on, kind of like Soul Glow. And I had too much on, and it made the stage slippery. I slipped and fell, and that's how I started messing up my knees and hips. So I had to I had to give up the stripping game.
So that's what you would tell people?
That's what I told them. It's not the truth, but that's what I told them.
And do people believe it?
Yeah. Some actually have. So
you guys heard it first. False. Okay. All right, Chocolate Thunder, I got a story for you. I remember earlier on in my career, it was probably at least 15 years ago, if not between 20 and 15 years ago. There was, and we won't name any officers involved because I know this was a top secret mission back then, but they had it was a stripper party. A bunch of officers and maybe some of their friends, they all showed up at somebody's house. And it was for no other occasion other than to have a stripper there. And we drew names out of a hat to see who was going to be the groom, because obviously at these events, a groom will get more attention, right? Mm-hmm. And lo and behold, your name was drew out of the hat to become to be the groom. To be the groom, man. And I remember, they set you in a chair in the middle of the room, and all of us guys, were there, and you're just putting on this show, like the groom, the fake groom. Was on the chair, and this stripper was like giving you a lap dance, and she did this backflip to where if I'm you, like her legs like went behind your shoulders, and like she was wearing some panties, and it was like right here, and you just started like. And then her legs started flipping, and then she did that backflip back, and she's like, no.
Touch it, yeah.
And I remember exactly what you said. You said, I'm sorry. You put that in front of my face, I'm eating it.
It's, once again, look at the shirt. Vegetarian.
Hey, it's like dangling meat in front of an alligator. But if I remember, it was just a funny moment. You just got the warning. It was like, hey, there's none of that. Yeah. Hey, sorry.
I didn't get the memo.
Hey, you know what? It was okay because you were the groom. Anything else happened that night that I didn't know about? Because that was so long ago, man.
No, bro, really?
How long ago was that?
Was it 2000?
Because I started working there at 2001,
and I was there at 2. So I'm thinking maybe 3 or 4.
Yeah,
somewhere right around. Yeah. I mean, I can tie it to right around then because I was still married to my first wife.
Right.
So yeah, I'm thinking it has to be 2003 or 4. So yeah.
Oh. Well, yeah. So that's just a testament of how long we've known each other. I mean, if I started in 2001, you started in 2002, and that happened probably 2003, 2004.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
A long time.
Man, I'm old.
We both are.
So let me ask you about the nose piercing, man.
Oh yeah, man. I've had this for a while, probably since about 2016 or so. But there was a way to get away with it at work. It was a different type of jewelry. So you would
Like-
just flip it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And nobody would know. And even the nostril piercings, all I would do is use my wife's black nail polish and just paint the tips of the jewelry, and it would just look like a mole. So, there was ways to get around wearing it while you were at work.
You know, it's like whenever I see like piercings like that on the nose on females, like they'll have like multiple in the ear, the nose, and the eyebrow. I just think that's so cool, man. And there was like one time I was actually going to pull the trigger on getting my eyebrow done. I don't know what, man. I just saw it and I just liked how it looked. But I could never pull the trigger on it getting pierced. I have 0 piercings, never had it pierced, but I think they're cool, man.
Well, it started for me when I was 17 in high school. I had got my first piercing. Back then, you'd have one ear done. And
Yeah.
for guys or straight guys, it was the left ear. So I've always been fascinated by piercings. So, so shoot, man, I went off the hook with it back in the mid 90s, 95. I think first time I ever got my tongue pierced. And, then after a while, it was one thing led to another. And next thing you know, I'm sitting right now on about 21 or 22 piercings. Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I'm going to state the obvious right now because
yeah.
I'm only looking at 2 right now.
Yeah. Yeah. There's 3. 3 in each ear.
Okay.
There's 6 there. And then the nostril, 2 on one side, 1 on the other. That's another 3. The tongue, 1. The medusa, both nipples are pierced, double piercings in each one. And then a dermal in the center of the chest. And then I have a Jacob's ladder and a Prince Albert.
Okay. Jacob's ladder, Prince Albert. I think I've heard of the Prince Albert before. I think that's it's down on the genitals, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So would you say it was a Prince Albert and a what?
A Jacob's ladder. It's just like a straight barbell, but think of the ladder or the steps on a ladder, the rung.
So it's a piercing up the shaft?
Up the shaft, on the bottom side of the shaft. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It's a conversation piece.
Oh,
I tell
okay.
people I just like to decorate my junk, but
Well, man, I think the viewers who don't know what that is, they would probably see how how it looks.
Yeah,
so go ahead.
they can Google it.
I'm just kidding. I'm joking.
Just go to Google.
Okay, well, let me back up to the Facebook post. I was actually very surprised that this Facebook post blew. Well, I'm not really surprised. You just when I saw how on fire that it was, man, I was like, oh my goodness. I go, everybody's really looking forward to this guy's post. So I'm gonna bring it up and just go to it. So I have the post up right now on screen. So there's our announcement photo. Just right off the bat, we got a oh my gosh emoji.
Right.
This should be really a good one. This is going to be epic, says Pedro Foster. We got David Richardson. Oh yeah, and then we got this emoji of clapping. That Marta Ortiz. You want?
Well,
why are you moaning when you bring up Ortiz? Why are you moaning?
because my sphincter tightened up just now. so yeah, I got violated. Yeah.
And we got oh man, saw clip. Oh my gosh, can't wait to watch it. That's what Armida says. Where can I watch it? And then this guy just wrote yep with a thumbs up. And then holy shit, this who's this? Henry Tango. It's gonna be a great. So people are anticipating on this, man. Oh my gosh, be interesting. I think somebody mentioned something about a baby seal, but they must have deleted it because I don't see it on here.
Yeah, they probably did. I'm glad they did.
Yeah, and then like I said, so here's more. Like I said, man, it kind of blew up. And
oh, I see the one.
So-
I see one down there.
which one is? Oh yeah, it was a few years later.
That one.
You should tell the K2 rubber band story. I'm sure you remember.
Well, what happened was, man, it was about 2012, I think it was.
Yeah.
And, the overtime was off the hook, man. So it was like, pick your poison.
Yeah.
You're going to work it regardless, all right? So I'm working K2 third watch with on a Saturday with my partners, and I had just came off of second watch overtime. So, once you get done with everything and AdSec, feeding, whatever, all that stuff, right? It's time to kind of relax and chill out. So I'm trying to relax. And we were all sitting at the table. There's three of us. And I'm trying to relax. And, I'm meditating. I'm not asleep. But I'm meditating, praying. And I get hit in the forehead with a rubber band. And I go, what the? I go, hey, come on, stop. And that happened like 2 or 3 more times. And then I lost my mind, and I was about to go to silverback mode, and I moved the table, and I just lost my shit. And I was so upset with him, man. I didn't talk to him for a few years, man. I was just like, But eventually I got over it, and we chopped it up again, man.
Well, it's because somebody was fucking with you while you were meditating.
Yeah, while I was meditating. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that you probably scared people that day.
Somewhat, yeah.
All right, and then we'll have your partners on. And they can tell the story. They can tell their version of it. So coming out of the rubber band story, anything else come to mind as far as like a crazy story you might?
Oh yeah, brother. I have a few. One is the penis pump incident, and I had a urologist from Keither, and I would get, testosterone Cypionate and, Cialis and stuff like that.
Right.
And we were talking one day, and he explained to me the benefits of having a penis pump, and in case you want to go another session, and sometimes you got to wait maybe.
So it's a blood flow thing, right?
So yeah. So, unbeknownst to me, one day I get home, there's a package out front. I get inside, open it up, and see that it's a penis pump from my doctor from Keither. And so, of course, I start watching the videotape on how to use this device, and so I go, okay, let's try it and see what happens. So I get everything set up. Like I said, it comes with, blood flow constriction rings or cock rings or whatever, KY jelly, which I don't even know why it came with a KY jelly, since I got a ton of it anyway at home. I would keep, so anyway, I get everything set up, and the tube, the valve, everything set up. So I'm working it, and I'm about to, like I said, bottom out. Then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, my left testicle gets sucked into the tube. And so then I kind of like freak out and panic and thank God there's a release valve that I hit it, and it just, disengaged, and everything went back to the way it went. But yeah, it traumatized me for a while, for a very long while. Testicles got sucked up in a tube with your junk. So,
Wow. Okay. Well, that's enough about a work story. I know how some of our viewers, a lot of my viewers are from work, and they get nervous when we talk about work too much. I don't mind talking about work, and neither does.
I really don't mind.
Yeah, I don't mind. I mean, we could talk about work as long as we're not being inappropriate. But anyways, enough about work. What else you got as far as some? How about anything that happened since you've been retired?
Oh yeah, definitely. As soon as I retired, I'd always told myself, I said, okay, a kid or a product from the 80s, and we used to smoke weed and get high or whatever,
Right.
So I've heard about edibles. So talking to different individuals about edibles. So I find a dispensary,
Like gummies and stuff,
and
right?
gummies, and there was some other stuff that looks like
Is that what we're talking about when we think about edibles,
Yeah.
gummies, or
there's gummies, and then there's one actually came in a tube. It looked like a syringe, and it was black, tarry looking. And you're only supposed to use the amount the size of a grain of rice. So me, being me and a big guy, I'm not gonna do a single, size. I'm gonna double up on it.
It's kind of like drinking. Like, I'm a big guy. I can handle a lot
I
of
can
beer.
handle, yeah, man, bad mistake. So, and with edibles, it takes a minute for it to kick in.
Right.
Maybe an hour or so, whatever.
Oh, well, I wouldn't know.
Yeah,
I wouldn't know yet. I wouldn't know yet.
And so, I'm waiting. I said, I'm going to bed, man. I'm not feeling nothing. And it kicked in. And I remember, man, I have my iPad on my night table, my nightstand. And when it kicked in, bro, I was trying to figure out, I'm looking at it, and I can't figure out how to use my damn iPad. And I'm tripping. And then I felt like my soul left my body, but I could remember all this stuff. And it's like I'm floating up and looking down at myself, trying to figure out how to use that damn iPad. And man, bro, and then I was trying to go to sleep. I couldn't go to sleep. I'm tossing, I'm turning. I know my wife probably thinking, what the hell's wrong with him? So eventually I did fall asleep. I woke up the next day about, 12 o'clock. And then my dogs are looking at me like, is this motherfucker going to like feed us and take us to the park or whatever? Because I was still feeling the effects of it, man. And so eventually I got going, man. But I said after that, man, I got rid of that, man. Never ever again with the edibles.
Was that your first and only time?
That was my first time. I won't say my only time, but it was my first time. After that, I went with the gummies, and then the part with where I messed up at was indica. I guess indica is a stronger type of, edible, and so I went with something more lightweight so that you can still function, and if you want to watch a movie and recall what you're watching.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, man, that's probably been maybe a year and a half or so.
Well, I know, like, when I retire, I want to try smoke some weed.
Mm-hmm.
Because like my friend Todd says, like, we drink a lot of beer to get that buzzed high feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And we're bloated and we gain weight. But, some people, they'll go out to the garage, they'll smoke a blunt, they come in, they're fucking high as a kite. They're buzzing, feeling good. It's the same effect that what we do while trying to drink a case of beer.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? I'll probably try smoking some weed when I retire, because it's really not worse than drinking a case of beer, right? Right?
I would think so.
Because I drink.
Yeah, and there's just so many different varieties, and it's like a learning experience. Man. You go in one of those dispensaries, and they'll ask you a bunch of questions, and what are you looking for? What do you want? I mean, they have pre-rolled. You don't even have to roll them anymore.
Yeah. So that experience with the gummies, what was it? Was it gummies or the edibles? Was it gummies? Was it like brownies, cookies?
No, it was more of like I said, it was a tarry type of substance that was actually
that was the syringe.
It was in a syringe, yeah. And then after that, I was like, forget that. So then I eventually started trying to, the gummies and.
Well, just like anything, I think those things, they become popular because obviously people have a good experience with it, but probably at very moderation.
Yeah,
You do too much.
yeah.
Too much always ruins things.
Yes.
Okay, man, I'm going to change the subject a little bit right now. So we talked about penis pumps, edibles, a work story, the rubber band story. But let's change the channel a little bit. I want you to think of your career. And over the career, I want you to think of an individual who brought not really joy, but somebody who you think very highly of. And I want this to be like a positive note. I'm not going to ask you if anybody who you dislike or you had beef with, just somebody who made an impression on you working in a prison for 20-something years that you had. Bring up somebody who you think very highly of.
That would be Fisher, Jerry John.
Yeah.
Great dude, man, strong. Extremely strong.
Yeah, okay, if we know Jerry John, yeah, we all know he's very strong. So yeah, he is a very positive. Like, I have stories for days of Jerry John. I love that guy the moment I met him. But what stands out by you bringing him up right now?
It's for me. It's his personality. Man.
Yeah.
He just a great dude. Open arms, literally. Embrace you, and I learned different things from him as far as like if we had to do a cell extraction, and the cell had two inmates.
Mm.
How you would do that. With two extraction teams or whatever. So it was just things like that I didn't know. And being able to go to his wedding and visit him when he was in the hospital, and when I maybe was out of surgery, he would come visit me as well. So that dude, man, just you go lovable.
Wow.
Yeah.
I would agree, man. That
Yeah.
that is enough to stand out as like a very positive person. I agree with you 100%. Jerry John, he's like he's one in a million, man.
Yeah, he is definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows, man? Maybe we get him on one of these days.
That would be cool. That would be real nice.
He seems like the type that probably won't do it until he's retired, but I'll wait for him.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, man. So we talked about Jerry John. Yeah, good guy. Definitely a shining star in CDC. But let's talk about before CDC. What did you do before being a correctional officer? And tell us a few stories about that. And then what made you become a correctional officer? What made you decide, yeah, this is for me, or did somebody suggest it to you?
Okay. Well, in a nutshell, the reason I got into corrections is because I was getting tired of the bullshit with the different. I worked retail management. I worked for Walgreens, Marshall's department store, Target, big and tall clothing. Imagine that, right?
It's here in Stockton, right?
And, yeah. And it just seems like there was no structure. It was you had all these different employees that was either having beefs with each other. Sometimes you felt like you were being a referee. And after a while, I was like, man, I'm getting tired of this, man. I'm looking for something that's more stable, that's, going to have a retirement and so forth, man. But, and initially how I got into retail, it was supposed to be just be a part-time seasonal position with a company back in the day called Paul Wagner's Big and Tall. So it went from being seasonal help to getting hired there full-time. And then they were bought out by another company who made me their assistant store manager. So I worked big and tall clothing for a while. And it just basically went from big and tall to Target. I was recruited by Target and Walgreens. So, it was... it was just you had to go through the holiday season, the way people would treat each other, man, during that Black Friday, and just trying to maul each other, man, and
a customer service type job. Yeah, it's dog eat dog customer
man,
service.
bro.
Yeah,
Yeah,
people are fucking terrible.
yeah, and like I said, it was just one of those. Like after a while, I was like, I'm done with this, man. Yeah.
So what led you to corrections? Like, did somebody suggest it, or did you just like
Well, initially, like I
see
said,
an ad?
it was one of the homies, Alex Montoya. He had mentioned it, and like I said, but I drug my feet. I still continued to work in retail management, but it just finally got to the point to where I was like, hey, I'm done with this, and no regrets,
Yeah.
Like I said, corrections has been good, a lot of good people, so
So you were friends with Alex Montoya in high school?
High school.
Oh, so you remained friends.
Oh
All right.
yeah. You ever if you ever talk to him, ask him about our swimming experience during football season when we had 3-a-day practices. That's all I'm gonna say. It was just
Okay.
it was one way for us to cool off during our 3-a-day sessions of football practice, but it was just.
So this is a story that he should probably tell. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, yeah. That's why we had our little joke going on Facebook about, hey, let's go swimming.
All right. Hey,
Yeah.
Montoya. Hey, you're on next. Hey, you just been called out. All right. Okay, so ask him about the swimming. We'll do. So who we're talking about who he talked you into becoming corrections. So it was Montoya.
Oh yeah, it was
So
definitely.
obviously he became corrections before you.
Yeah, yep. So good dude.
So at first were you like,
Good.
fuck that? I ain't working no fucking prison.
Because I was thinking, it's only going to take one time for me to get hit or something like that, and then I'm going to end up losing my job, because I'm thinking, okay, you're going it's going to probably be rocking and rolling, and you're going to be, assaulted.
Yeah.
And then I come to find out it really wasn't that way. So I do regret the fact of not getting into corrections a lot sooner.
Yeah, same here.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, I think for the most part, Todd Good, he persuaded me into becoming the corrections. I'm like, you fucking crazy?
Right.
Fucking work around no fucking inmates. I'm
Right.
gonna fuck you. He's like, it's not what you think. It's not like what you see on TV. He says for the most part, it's like airline pilot. It's smooth sailing most of the time. When there's a fight or a little riot, get some turbulence. 30 minutes, hour later, maybe a couple hours, you clear all up, back to smooth sailing. And he said for the most part, inmates know what to do, and you're there to watch them do it. Mm-hmm. And for the most part, true.
True.
It's truth.
Yeah.
And that's been what it was for the most part. They know what to do. I'd say my career has been smooth sailing. Probably, I don't know. I'd say 85% of it.
Yeah.
Probably a good 15% of it, like rocky road.
And that's what I try to tell just different people who I come across, and they find out what I used to do.
Yeah.
And they want to hear stories, and I go, it's not like what you see on TV, or you know what I mean. It's
yeah. Of course,
not like that.
There's stories.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have stories,
Yeah.
but it's not like juice every day. You know?
Right.
Like someone asked me, like, someone just asked me this the other day, hey, did you ever have piss and shit thrown on you? I'm like, no, I never really worked the areas where the inmates did that. I go, but I worked that area one time, and they left a landmine on the tier, and I stepped in it.
Oh.
And that was the fucking stinkiest fucking shit I ever fucking smelled when it's on your foot. So I had to go to the shower, and I cleaned it off, and that was horrible enough.
Right.
And I know some officers actually get the ultimate horrible, which is
Right.
getting that shit thrown on you.
Yeah. No, the closest I think I ever got was on the ADSEG yard, and I'm glad I was wearing a hat because some inmate was acting out, and he decided I just got on duty, so I'm doing my security checks, and he running his freaking mouth, and as soon as I got close enough, he decided he didn't want to try to spit on me. So I go, okay, let me activate my alarm, and you know what I mean. But other than that, bro, I didn't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matter of fact, every now and then, I actually, believe it or not, you'll run into a parolee out on the street, and whether it's Walmart or whatever. I was in an intersection one time on Pacific and Yokuts. Guy pulls up next to me. Hey, you used to be that CIDB? Yeah. Say, hey, you know what? You was a good CO. I was like, all right, man, you know.
Yeah.
So, hey, it is what it is.
One time I was at a bar in Lodi, as it was called the Stadium on Turner Road, and I'm at the bar looking for a beer, and this guy, clean cut, glasses on, hat. I mean, dude was looking good, as far as like clean cut. And then he called me by my last name. He's like, hey, what's going on, Buren? I'm like, what? He's like, yeah. He goes, yeah, I was at DVI. He goes, I was at the ranch. He goes, I remember you always worked the ranch. He was like, you were hella cool. Mm-hmm. He goes, you really didn't trip on too much. Mm-hmm. I'm like, little did you know, like, well, I didn't see nothing to trip on.
Right.
If I'm only out there for the day, I'm just out there for a count, like feed you guys, blah, blah, blah. But anyways, he thought I was cool, and he bought me a drink. He's like, can I buy you a drink? And you know what? Since I'm not naming names, I let him buy me a drink. That was a good-ass drink. Thanks. Actually, that guy, he ended up passing away.
Oh.
He passed away in a motorcycle accident. I forgot his name. But I know he was like real popular amongst Stockton. I know a lot of people knew him. Everybody's doing the rest IP, the RIP. He was I think he died in a motorcycle accident.
Oh.
But as far as like interacting with this dude at the bar, he was like a normal guy. He was like friendly. He recognized. I was a nice guy, friendly guy. Just did my job. And that's the whole thing about working where we work. A lot of people do a little extra. to be dicks.
Right.
That goes to their head.
Right.
You know what?
Right.
These guys can see you on the streets.
Mm-hmm.
They they run across you on the streets. They might not be so nice because you're just, at the end of the day, you're just a normal guy. You're just a regular guy like them.
Yeah. Well, I was told in the academy by our sergeant about that, and he says you never know who your neighbor might be.
Yeah.
So some cat get out paroled. Next thing you know, moving into a house or whatever next to you, and it could have been somebody that you was being a dick to.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. So just be professional.
Yep.
Be professional all the time, and you got nothing to worry about. If one of these guys sees you on the street, he'll be like, "Hey, what's up?" You know.
Mm-hmm.
I remember one time I went to AutoZone. No, it was was it Cragen? O'Reilly's right here on Pacific Avenue, and I was walking to my car, and there was a guy all the way on the street on Pacific Avenue. Hey, CO. Hey, CO. I remember you. I'm like, all right, man. I'm like, you. I mean, you doing good? You doing? He goes, yeah, man, I'm doing all right, man. Blah blah blah. And then he told me, hey, man, take care. Have a good day. I'm like, hey, man, take care.
Yep.
Yeah, just do your job. Don't do extra.
That's
Just
right.
do your job. Work. We've made enough people nervous about talking about work because that's what people do who we work with. They get nervous.
You get nervous.
But anyways, man, I noticed when you came in and you had it with you the whole time, you brought a little something with you. And I'm a little curious right now, man. You want to...
Well, I brought a book to read, of course.
Nice.
It's entitled, "Do You Want to Play with My Balls?"
Oh.
So if I can, I'd like to read this.
Dude, I just made a weird noise in the mic. Anyways. Okay, so we get a bonus. We get a bonus tonight. We get a little story.
You get a bonus. You get a story. Yeah. Ready?
Okay. Are you gonna? Is there pictures or?
Oh, there's pictures. There's some pictures. I'll try to
Okay.
throw them up.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. What's it called again?
It's entitled, "Do You Want to Play with My Balls?"
I don't know. I didn't know about this, guys.
It's, "Hey, Louie, do you want to play with my balls?" "Sure, Chuck. I can hold your ball sack so it won't drag on the ground." "Wow, your balls are so big, I can't even fit them in my mouth." "My mom's always yelling, 'Louie, get those balls out of your mouth before you choke.' You know that mean girl Sally? She squeezed my balls so hard they look funny."
Sally. That girl.
"Yeah, well, when I play with Sally, I always end up with blue balls." "Billy Johnson made Sally cry last week. Now that kids got balls." "Not anymore. Yesterday, Sally kicked Billy's ball so hard, he lost one."
Kicked it over the fence.
"Look, Louie, your dog is licking my balls.
Dog's licking the balls.
Let's roll them on Sparky's fur. Girls hate hairy balls." "You know, Chuck, if we show Sally our hairy balls, she'll scream for sure." "Yeah, but I don't know. I kind of like Sally. I wish she would just play nice with my balls."
Definitely not story time for your kids, everybody.
No. And it's, "Yeah, me too." "Hi, Sally, do you want to play with our balls?" "Sure, but only if I can play with both of your balls at the same time." She's
Sally from the block. Everybody.
of course, the end.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, what's the moral of the story?
No comment.
We'll leave it at that. Everybody, that was story time with sexual chocolate.
Yeah.
Well, man, Mr. Chocolate. Well,
and of course, I have more books to read. So
well,
next time I'll bring something else.
there's definitely going to be another time. Please bring your books. I want to extend, man. We're going to go ahead and wrap up this podcast. Thanks for stopping by, man. Thanks for telling
Anytime,
stories,
bro,
man.
Anytime.
Man, it was an honor. Like somebody said on Facebook, man, oh, you got a big fish on your podcast. I'm like, I did. So
I
I'm like,
appreciate that.
I'm truly honored, man,
I
that you
appreciate it.
you accepted to come on to the podcast.
Yes, sir.
Honored to have you seated, mic'd up, and with the earphones on. Man, I'm just
It's been fun.
yeah.
Yeah.
And you know what?
Myself.
And just like what Stewie said, like because doing it, I feel like we became more friends than we already
That's
were.
right.
So
Oh yeah.
So thank you very much, man.
Anytime. All right, bro. All right.
All right, everybody. Hey, Keither.B for the Keither.B podcast. And if you enjoyed this episode, please don't be afraid to subscribe to the channel, like the channel, and say what's up to Mr. Sexual Chocolate. Peace out, everybody.